Hey guys, for Algebra 1, we are just continuing on finding the vertex, the shape of the parabola, if it's up or down, and the y-intercept. So our notes have us find the axis of symmetry first, and it says negative b over 2. B is the number in front of x, so it's going to be negative 16 over 2, and that's equal to a negative 8. And that is our x value. We're going to take that x value, this negative 8, and we're going to substitute it in for everywhere that we see x in our equation. So I'm going to have negative 8 squared, because that's what we start off with, is x squared. So it's negative 8 squared, plus 16 times the negative 8, plus 64. Then we have to solve for y. This is y, this is equal to y. So we're just solving. Negative 8 squared is a 64, because the negative times the negative is positive. Minus 16 times 8 is 128, plus 64. 64 plus 64 is equal to 120, or is equal to 128. So our total is 0, and that is our y. So we have to write the vertex, and we're going to write that in x comma y. Our x is negative 8, comma y is 0. So our vertex is at negative 8, 0. Now we have to find the direction of the parabola. So we're going to look at the number in front of our x squared. There's not a number there, so we know that that's a 1, and it's a positive 1. So the direction of the parabola is going to be up, because it's positive. If it was down, if it was negative, it would be down like a frown. Then we have to determine the y-intercept. The y-intercept is our last number, so it's going to be just 64. So we have found our value for our x, or for our axis of symmetry. Then we've taken that number, plugged it into this equation to solve for y. Once we've done that, we've given our x, y coordinate. We've determined if our parabola is up or down and found our y-intercept. So let's look at number 2. Again, we're looking at our axis of symmetry. So we're going to take our b term, the number in front of x. So it's going to be negative 6 over 2. Negative 6 over 2 is equal to a negative 3, and that is our x value. That's an equal sign, guys, sorry. So now we're going to take that negative 3, and we're going to plug it in for everywhere we see x. So we have negative 3 squared plus 6 times a negative 3 plus 6. Everywhere there's an x, oh, and there's a negative in front of that. Everywhere there's an x, I've substituted in negative 3. So, negative 3 squared is a positive 9 because a negative times a negative, but because of this negative up front, I will end up with negative 9. 6 times 3 is 18, so minus 18, plus 6 is going to be equal to a negative 21. And this is my y value. Now I have to write the vertex. I have to write that in x comma y form. So negative 3, that's my x value that I found, comma, negative 21, that's my y value that I found. We have to determine the direction of the parabola. So we're going to look up here and look at the number in front of x squared. And since it's negative, it is down like a frown. And then we have to determine the y-intercept. And the y-intercept is always this number. It's where it crosses the y-axis. And the y-intercept is at 6. Our last one that we're going to look at for today, we're going to find the axis of symmetry. So we're going to use this negative 6. So it's negative 6 over 2. It's a negative times a negative, So it's going to be a positive 3, and that's equal to our x value. Then we're going to take this positive 3. We're going to substitute it in for x everywhere we find x. So we have 3 squared minus 6 times 3 minus 16. All I've done is substituted in my 3. Now I have to solve for y. So I have 9 minus 18 minus 16 is going to be equal to a negative 25. And that's my y value. So I'll write it in vertex form. My x, which is 3, comma, y, which is negative 25. Find the direction of the parabola. Is it up or down? We're going to look at the number in front of this x squared. Since there's not a negative there, that means it's a positive. So that means it's up. And then we have to find our y-intercept, which is this number, our constant. So our y-intercept is negative 16. Well, let me know if you guys have any questions. Otherwise, I hope you have a great day.